Let's meet our starters for both squads playing here in our first game. Our starting five brought to you by 1xBet, the title sponsor of the MPBL. 1xBet, your choice, your victory. Feel more game with 1xBet. The gripper will be beginning things with Charles Caliano and Lars Sunga in the backcourt. Koy Alves is the man in the middle. RV Bringas, their leading scorer. And the first game of Orin Katakutan for Sarangani this season. Sa kabilang panig naman, Marvin Taiwan, Joshua David, Raven Gonzalez, John Uduba, and of course, Dave Ildefonso. Those are the starters for the ABRA Weavers and Coach Yong Garcia. Dave Ildefonso has slowly become the face of this franchise along with Enzo Serrano, and they've been playing great music together along with all the other pieces that they built in the offseason.
Yeah, and why not? Dave Ildefonso, the minutes that he's getting, really a lot of output for the ABRA Weavers, and lalo na defensively, you know, he's helping out big for the ABRA Weavers.
At ang maganda dito, Coach, sa ABRA, despite them having a lot of big names, they're playing for each other, Coach. And that's the reason why they've been getting these victories. And hindi lang sa basta-basta mga panalo, it's been wins in convincing fashion.
Agree. And, you know, for you to play a very good defensive scheme, you have to have that togetherness. And yan yung nakikita mo dito sa ABRA Weavers. And what we're seeing so far, they're number one when it comes to rebounds, and they're number two when it comes to allowing very limited points to their opponents. And so if you're close out defensively with a good rebound, then you're doing a good job on the defensive end.
However, in this possession, they turn it over. That's a travel laban kay Raven Gonzalez. Barely a minute into our first quarter, wala pa nakapuntos dito sa parehong kupunan. Charles Caliano will walk it up here for the Sarangani gripper. Alves on the right side. Bringas averaging 12.3 points per game. They go to Katakutan, who seems to like that matchup that he has against Marvin Taiwan, but that's going to be an offensive foul laban kay Orin Katakutan.
Yeah, definitely an offensive foul for Orin right there. He just went right through Marvin Taiwan.
Old camping stoves recipe.
To front him that aggressive, but you know, getting in there and getting that offensive foul.
But talk to us, Coach, about how big Orin Katakutan will be in helping Sarangani sustain this kind of momentum that they are on right now.
Well, I think one of the reasons that they got Orin Katakutan is yung activity niya pagdating sa offensive side of the floor. Alam naman natin kayang tumahin yan eh. Put the ball on the floor, try and create, get some paint touches, see other openings for his teammates. And, you know, him playing alongside Kit Jimenez would really help a lot offensively. And huwag natin kalimutan, sa lakas ng katawan niya, kaya rin dumipensa ito ni Orin Katakutan.
It's going to be exciting as he tries to match up against the strong wings of the ABRA Weavers, of course, led by Dave Ildefonso.
Agree.
Alves on the block against Uduba. Gonzalez is ready to help. He pulls down that rebound. Joshua David off and running. Good transition defense for the gripper. Taiwan, the spin, the shot off the glass and in. We begin our scoring festivities with that jumper by Marvin Taiwan.
Walang problema yung adjustment na yun. Naman natin to si Marvin Taiwan. Much as he's playing a point guard here for the Weavers, for the most part, ano yan, wing yan, scoring guard yan. So walang problema yun.
And this is the defense that you've been raving about, Coach. The second best defense in the league. Forcing a turnover there. That was Josh David getting the steal and the score para sa ABRA. 4-0 to begin this game.
Yeah, and they're so good. They're allowing only 67 points rather for their opponents. And so if you're going to be going up against these guys, you better make sure that the ball is moving and your guys are moving around the floor.
Taiwan sowing his way past the defense, locating Joshua David, who cuts through that baseline. That's going to be a foul against RV Bringas. Got this fast break of the game brought to you by Extreme X Pop, personal karaoke speaker everyday karaoke.
He saw that move going middle, and Caliano was thinking na dun nga pupunta, pero set up lang yun para sa spin niya on that left side, going glass in the back.
David misses on his first free throw. Fresh off a stint in the UAP with the De La Salle Green Archers, who had a maiden finish to my UP Fighting Maroons in the last UAP season.
That's okay.
Well, they won the championship in the season previous.
Right.
He splits his charities. It's 5-0.
Interesting matchup right there.
Orin Katakutan gets his first bucket this season. by way of a three-point shot. Ildefonso strong to the rack. And he's going to go to the line for 2 shots. He is just so deadly when he gets that step on his defender.
Oo, tsaka pagka meron na siyang momentum pababa, full head of steam, mahirap nang pigilan niya. Kaya sa ibabaw pa lang, kailangan chine-check mo na siya. Try to slow him down a little bit. But something's easier said than done. Lakas rin kasi ng ang katawan nito ni Dave, and he's got pretty good handles.
Correct. Ildefonso. One more free throw para sa kanya. We'd like to thank LGR, the official outfitter of the MPBL. That's a rare miss coming from the former Ateneo Blue Eagle.
65% free throw shooter. Si Dave. Playing both ends of the floor.
He has all the attributes to be successful on both sides of the basketball. And we're very lucky to have him dito sa Liga ng Bawat Pilipino. That's Orin Katakutan missing the defense of ABRA, getting lost in the shuffle. That could have been an easy bucket para sa kanya, but he just muffed that chance.
Definitely, we didn't see any lift that much. Ito, nakakashoot siya ng 3-point dito against Dave.
That's our 3-point shot brought to you by Extreme One-Stop Shop Appliances.
Wala masyadong lift yung tira niya, no? Even on the follow through, on the putback.
They obviously baby that shot, and that's gonna merit a substitution for Kit Jimenez. Ildefonso. That's a foul before the shot. That shot will not count. And Sarangani already in the penalty, coach, this early, so nevertheless, he will still get 2 free throws.
Well, you get early into the penalty, you know you're in trouble, no? Because itong Abra Weavers na to, they get really good opportunities on the line, and they make the most out of it.
Especially that hindi naman ganun kalalim ang frontline rotation nitong Sarangani gripper. And there you see Coach Yong Garcia and the numbers of Dave Ildefonso this season. Almost 15 points per game, 6.9 rebounds. Sabi na nga ni Coach Mike kanina, 65.1% from the charity stripe.
So, nakakapag-dish din pag may pagkakataon.
So Abra is up by 4 and they get to extend that lead as Marwin Taiwan goes to the line once again. The Abra Weavers are just suffocating these Sarangani players defensively sa backcourt pa lang.
Oh, the thing that's dangerous about the Weavers definitely depends.
Check out our special deal from 1xBet. When you scan the QR code and claim your special offer, Taiwan with some early production para dito sa kupunan ng Abra. Many people forget how lethal a scorer Marwin Taiwan was. Yes, he was the de facto backup point guard for Orlan Mamar when he was with San Juan. But before that, he was the face of the Navotas clutch.
Agree. And even his percentages would show that, you know, roughly about a 42, 43%, 50% field goal shooting rather, and pretty good at the free throw also. So either way, he's gonna score on you.
Sarangani with possession. Jimenez fakes the 3, puts the ball on the deck. Baseline drive, locates Sunga. Couldn't get it off the back. Rebound secured by Raven Gonzalez. Ildefonso. Umatake. Ildefonso gets the 2 points.
Again, you got to stop him real high. Because if you give him that paint touch with his really good footwork and his strong body,
yeah, you could almost kiss any chances of you stopping him.
iskurang ka na lang.
Ildefonso settles for the outside shot this time. That goes in and out. Destacamento almost had it. There's going to be a foul against Abra. Only their second team foul here in the first quarter. As we approach the halfway point of quarter number 1, Ildefonso strong to the hoop.
Well, you can do only so much drop coverage against him. You got to check him up real high.
9-0 in terms of fast break points, and this could be 10 and 11 as Raven Gonzalez finishes on the break after the steal on RV Bringas. The turnovers piling up here for Sarangani.
And that's what we were talking about, turnovers, defense. You know, they make you feel their defense, and ang mas nakakatakot dito, they make you pay. They normally would get you about 14 turnovers on their opponents and get roughly about 18 points out of it.
Raven Gonzalez, who's been averaging 8.2 points. Up next on the schedule of the Abra Weavers, they face the Bacolod Tubos Lasers on May 19. 4 days after that, they will match up against the Parañaque Patriots, who really have been struggling so far this season. And on May 31, that's going to be a matchup that everybody will be waiting to watch. They go up against the reigning South Division champions, the Quezon Huskers, who themselves will have a rematch of the championship tomorrow against the Pampanga Giant Lanterns at the Quezon Convention Center.
Yeah, and so the game's getting a little bit tougher for the teams. Kahit nasaang ano ka pa, tier ka ngayon, because you know, yung mga games na yan na magmamatter eventually, lalo na as you head later in the season.
Another great defensive stop here by Sarangani. That's Raven Gonzalez protecting the rim.
Wow.
Weavers, they force a shot clock violation on the gripper. The points have been hard to come by for Sarangani here in quarter number 1.
3 steals, 1 block. Turnovers that they forced in Sarangani, to which they got 6 points out of it already. So you gotta be mindful. Half of those points have come from points of turnover.
Diputado will come in para kay Charles Caliano. Let's see if Rev Diputado can be the key for Sarangani to gain some sort of order on their offense. But Diputado losing the ball right away. Ball is loose and Abra gains possession. Here comes David Ildefonso again. Drops it off. Taiwan just short on the push shot but gets it back. Reverse this time is good para kay Marvin Taiwan.
Even the littlest guy in that situation just very actively pursuing the rebounds. Marvin Taiwan getting that putback.
6 points in the game for the former San Juan Knight. Junji Halyare had to hang in the air. Gives it up to Bringas. Shot clock is at 9. Bringas makes a move against Gonzalez. Another block for former De La Salle Green Archer. Here's another former Green Archer. David drops it off to Uduba, who gets the deuce.
Yan isang aspeto ng laro ni John Oduba na gusto nila talagang lumabas eventually, lalo na later in the season. Defensively, he's been pretty good, but they'd love to see more scoring mula dito kay John Oduba.
Bringas taking too long in that shaded area. Buti di siya natawagan ng 3 seconds doon. Destacamento misfires from the perimeter, and there's going to be a foul laban sa Sarangani, which means another Abra player will through to the free throw line. This is our assist of the game, brought to you by 1xBet, the title sponsor of the MPBL. 1xBet, your choice, your victory. Feel more game with 1xBet.
And because that's Joshua David that's driving, you definitely are gonna have a second guy coming in to help out defensively.
John Oduba is our guest at the charity stripe. He cans the first. Uduba with 3 points so far in this game.
Contribution talaga ni John, karamihan nasa rebounds. See that number right there. Almost 5 per game.
Misses on the second but keeps it alive. Another possession for the Weavers. They've had so much more than Sarangani here in the first. Fadeaway jumper, Ildefonso could not get that one to drop. David from downtown, yes sir!
How much as we harp about scoring from points of turnovers para dito sa Abra Weavers, kadalasan sa 2-point area nila kinukuha yan. Rarely sa 3. And so the threes are something that they really are working on, speaking of the Weavers.
Jimenez answers back with a 3 of his own on that deep left corner pocket.
Parang hindi nawala.
That should get him going in this game. He had 15 in that game against Bulacan. 15 rin ang inahabol dito ng Sarangani. Can they get a stop? Ildefonso, his version of a 3-point shot will not work. Rebound for Sarangani. No numbers for the gripper. Jimenez had to pick up his dribble. Still a lot of time on their shot clock. Kit working against the defense of Josh David. Destacamento on the short roll, gives it up. They kick it out to Diputado. Attacks middle. Halyare, short stab is good.
Wow, and that ball went all over the place until it found the hands. And that finish para dito sa gripper.
Taiwan gives it up. Gonzalez had to adjust but still manages to get the basket.
Kahapon we were covering San Juan. We talked about Kalisaan being a guy that when he catches that ball on the paint, talagang di-dribble ng isa at i-score. Very similar dito kay Raven Gonzalez, no? A lot of similarity. Siguro mas malakas lang yung katawan ni Mike Calisaan than Raven, but
When indoor
identical point of attack for them.
This is our play of the game, brought to you by 1xBet, the title sponsor of the MPBL. 1xBet, your choice, your victory. Feel more game with 1xBet. And the moment that Raven Gonzalez gets to feel more games here in the MPBL, he will be an even more unstoppable force, just like how his team has been the last 6 games.
Oh, tama ka dyan. Lalo na ito, parang at a very early age, he's become the focal point of the ABRA Weavers, and I'm sure he's gonna grow into that identity and maturity of being one of the top guys of a team, in this case, the ABRA Weavers.
Alfred Batino checking in for the first time para sa ABRA, along with veteran Marquis, the living legend of the MPBL. Ildefonso gives it up to David. Rhythm dribble, takes the shot. This time it's no good. Destacamento had a hand on it. Ball is on the ground. Marquis still chasing for those loose balls. Ildefonso, top of the circle trifecta. That's long. Richard Velches tried to track it down. David also tried to save it for ABRA. But in the end, Sarangani will be getting possession.
Yun yung mga pagkakataon talagang pagtatrabahuan itong Weavers. Maraming beses na makita nila halos wala silang bantay sa threes because alam nila ang kalaban nila, yun ang Achilles nila.
Still a 15-point lead that Sarangani is trying to overcome here. Velches, it's a push down low against Marquis. He will get 2 free throws.
Yeah, Velches got that step ahead of Marquis rotating. So, eventually that foul.
Richard Velches, isa rin tong naging kasama ni Kit Jimenez dun sa Mavs Phenomenal Basketball. Big YouTube sensation, these two guys. Free throws in this game so far, ABRA is 60%, 6 out of 10, while Sarangani is 1 out of 2 after that conversion by Richard Velches.
So sila Velches, Orin, and yung mga bagong additions dito sa Gripper. Velches played the last time.
Well, Velches has been with the team, I think, since the start of the season.
Okay.
Si Orin lang talaga ang naglalo ng kanyang first game this afternoon. And to Serrano, if you think that your problems with David Ildefonso had ended, in comes Enzo Serrano para sa ABRA. At they get a stop here talking about Sarangani. I don't know what Kit Jimenez was planning to do with the basketball there. Almost a turnover once again for the Gripper. Luckily for them, there's a foul called against the Weavers.
I do agree that there are 4 dark shirts inside the shaded area. Capable of pulling up instead of forcing himself inside the paint.
Jimenez trying to unlock his only quadruple double.
Oo nga pala. That was last season, ano?
That was 2 seasons ago.
Oh yeah, 2 seasons ago.
Or I think 3, if my memory serves me right. Basta that was before he went to the PBA for San Miguel. One of the reasons why he got drafted. Baseline inbound para sa ABRA. Under 50 seconds to play in quarter number 1. Corner setup for Enzo Serrano. And it's going to stay with ABRA. Enrico Joaquin Garcia, rarely used this season, averaging 4 points per game para dito sa ABRA. Given the chance to show his wares in this game by Coach Yong Garcia. But that time, Enzo Serrano, his 3-point shooting has improved dramatically over the years, Coach Mike.
Oh, totoo naman yan. And I think that that's something that he really has to shore up para dito sa Weavers. One of those guys that can improve on that department.
Another turnover for Sarangani. That's 9 total already. The Weavers with a chance for this quarter's final shot. Serrano against the Destacamento goes up, got blocked, got his own miss, gets fouled on the second serving.
Again, pangalawang player inside the paint was actually the one who caught the ball. Really just more activity once that shot goes up. And so itong Sarangani Gripper got to do a better job of boxing out.
Imagine already 26 points in this quarter alone. Could end up with 28 itong ABRA after these 2 free throws by Enzo Serrano, who's shooting 65.5%. Same as David Ildefonso from the 15-foot parallel this season.
Parang yan na yung halos nagiging norm ng scoring ng Abra Weavers. Roughly mid-20s or high 20s.
Every quarter, no?
Every quarter. I think the only time that they got lesser in their last game against the Bataan was the second quarter where Bataan made a good run. They scored only 18.
Offensive rebound. That's Mark Yee getting it with a reverse after those two missed free throws galing dito kay Enzo Serrano. Dominant showing for the Abra Weavers, who are looking to extend their 6-game winning streak here this afternoon against Sarangani. Those are the important numbers na kailangan natin pagtuunan ng pansin dito, Coach. 13 fast break points and 14 points inside the paint.
Well, a lot of that has really come from missed shots to which they tried to push the ball the other end. And yung pangalawa naman, yung points of turnovers. How many times did you see moves like this? Raven Gonzalez getting in, David Defonso getting his way. You got to do a better job if you're Sarangani to stop these Abra Weavers.
28-9 after the first.
Pili ng kalaban. For Encho, bonus lang daw ang mga best player awards niya because he has nothing to prove, and in every matchup ay goal lang talaga niyang suklian ang tiwala ng Abra for choosing him. Sa mga training, hindi daw siyang gaano umiimik, and that's why it's a personal challenge for him to lift the energy in the team bilang isa nga daw sa mga kuya na tumatayo para sa kanila. Imprinted na raw sa utak nila at niya ang killer mindset palagi sa laban dahil tulad nga ng sabi ni Coach Yung, ayaw nilang natatalo, so we can expect nothing less from the Weavers today. Back to you guys.
Maraming salamat, Lyra. Imagine mo, dito sa team na to, si Enzo na
Oh,
isa sa
yeah.
mga kuya.
Yeah.
And that's how young they are, but they've been playing so well as a unit. Nakikita mo talaga that they've been working hard to really gel and get their chemistry going. These are a lot of talented guys, including that guy, CJ Austria, another former Lasal Green Archer.
And what you love about that last play is that ball moved from left to right until that strong finish by CJ Austria. Very similar DNA, I guess, with Joshua David. Guards that have very strong body that can finish through contact. That's what makes it tough to go up against them. Kaya naman yung mga paint scoring, ika nga, para dito sa Abra Weavers talagang napakataas.
Almost 6 points per game for CJ Austria this season. Misses from the free throw line. If there's one Waterloo for Abra this afternoon, it's been their free throws. Now 6 out of 13 from that area.
Them on the average, roughly about 61% shooting yan para dito sa Abra Weavers, and you gotta do better than that. Normally they get, 22 attempts, and they make 13-14 out of it. Sayang rin yung 8 points na yun, di ba? Lalo na in crucial games.
This is a 21-point lead that Sarangani is trying to overcome. They've been looking for answers, but most of the time they've just been hounded with more questions. Can this second quarter actually be the time that they make this into a more competitive ball game?
Tsaka yung scoring nila, mostly solo scoring, no? Like this one right here. That's just a straight-up shot by Kit Jimenez. Ball's not moving around, guys really just standing.
Kit's missed his last 2 shots from the outside. And funny that you mentioned that ball hasn't been moving around para sa kanila. That's after they established the record for most assists in the game.
Yeah, that's right.
They had 49 against Bulacan.
The irony of, you got to do that against the top teams. And this is a good opportunity to showcase sana for them, di ba?
Jimenez isolated against Garcia. Kit
Good
sees
pass.
Lars Sunga. Shot from the outside, no good. Nagagawan pa doon si Batino at saka si Serrano. And so nobody stopping the basketball. Shifts hands. Gets fouled in midair. And he will take 2.
I don't think anyone stopped the ball up from Sarangani on any dribble penetrate by the Weavers. I mean, they've had their way.
That's been the case since the first quarter. In the first quarter, for the most part, David Defonso was just going to the basket with reckless abandon. Dito naman, pumalit si Enzo Serrano. Same thing. And that's the reason why Sarangani has found themselves in this deep hole they are in right now.
Yeah. And the thing is, there's actually 2 ways that you can score in the perimeter. One are the paint twos and the non-paint twos. A lot of the scores from Abra Weavers right now coming from the paint twos.
That free throw is brought to you by Extreme Appliances, ang subok at kompletong appliance brand ng Pilipinas. Once again, Enzo Serrano failing to capitalize on his opportunities from the free throw line, which is why Sarangani will get another crack at it here. At may foul pa na maitatawag laban sa Abra. Is it gonna be against Enzo? Not too sure who the foul was against.
We didn't hear that too.
But definitely it's against Abra. Halyare is the one setting up the table here. Jimenez hands it off to Martin Gozum. Another scoring threat para sa Sarangani. Sana ba makakabutas dito para sa gripper?
Oh, wow.
He loses the basketball. The defense by Abra has been unforgiving, which leads to this CJ Austria basket.
Yeah. Tight and screw defensively, get the steal, push the rock, score of turnovers on a paint too.
Lars Sunga fakes the handoff, makes the attack on Markey. Goes up strong.
Man.
Access denied by the living legend. Serrano, bumubulusok. CJ Austria, once again, just lurking in that dunker spot.
Oh yeah, and every turnover that they forced, they scored the other way.
Arena here in Manila City, and out of the timeout, Sarangani turns it over again. That has been nothing new in this game, but they get the ball back. Halyare with an open lane, finishing over Batino. Could that be a sign of things to come for the gripper?
Well, that's the hope, that, you know, start things well and start to recover.
Serrano, the pirouette, short on the finger roll, but look who's there. Markey proving to everybody that he is still very highly capable of competing here in the MPBL.
No, without a doubt. Markey, quality minutes na kukuha mo dyan, and if you need veteran leadership, he definitely is the guy that you want to go to.
Halyare makes his move, gets the basket plus the foul. Junji Halyare taking matters into his own hands.
Yeah, good run here para sa Sarangani.
Making the move there on Enzo Serrano, and the swipe galing kay Enzo merits him his first personal foul. No, sorry, his second already in this game. He was called for a foul earlier. 24 pa rin ang abate dito ng Abra Weavers. More than 3 minutes gone by in quarter number 2.
Sumuna na yung Sarangani.
That push shot by Serrano is no good, but he gets the ball back. Still no good on the second try.
But very makeable shot, ano? Para kay Serrano.
And Sarangani was just standing around waiting for the basketball to fall into their hands, but this time Lars Sunga showing that they too could work hard on the glass.
Oh, maganda tong run na to. Little 6-2 run. Sarangani doing a better job finishing. But you gotta get stops.
Almost at the 7-minute mark of this second quarter, Sarangani had been scoreless, but guys like Lars Sunga and Junji Halyare have changed that para sa Sarangani. Sunga hesitated on the 3. Instead, he'll attack on Markey, try to use his speed. Batino comes swooping in for the board. 2-on-2. Austria forces the issue and draws the foul on Halyare.
And every time that you see an Abra Weaver going downhill, alam mo, very forceful yung pag-atake nila sa paint. So you have to be pretty, ready down there.
I think that's one of the things, Coach, that they realize coming into this season. It's going to be a long year, 30 teams, 29 games for each squad. It's not enough that you have those veteran names. You have to have these young legs to also try and compete and help them sustain some strong play for the whole year.
Lalo na ngayon ang mold ng mga teams ngayon. I feel if you look at the teams that are in the top tier, it's a really good mix of youth and experience, and yung mga nagpipeak na mga players in the middle. So you get that good mix at get them to play together. You most probably would end up playing still in the later in the season.
CJ Austria will come out of the game with 7 points, quality minutes para sa kanya off the bench.
ang magiging challenge lang siguro dyan, Javi, is yun, you pointed it out earlier kanina, yung si Encho Serrano na bata pa pero considered na veterano na, di ba? How do they quickly embrace that and how will they model that role for their team?
Well, so far, so good. Wala pa naman ako nakikitang masyadong problema para sa Abra, especially because they are on a 6-game winning streak right now after that tough loss to the Pasay Voyagers last March 19. They lost that game by 10 points, coach, and I think that was a good wake-up call para sa kanila.
Oo, lalo na kay Dave Ildefonso. I mean, the way that they shot the ball, lalo na for Dave, completely turned around after that game.
Let's go to Miss Lyra Punsalan.
The man of the hour, Dave Ildefonso, has nothing but immense gratitude daw para sa coaching staff ng Abra sa pag-aalaga sa kanya, especially for the past few days at sa very welcoming environment daw ng kanyang kuponan. Very flattering daw to be receiving comments that he's in his MVP form, pero para sa kanya, collective effort pa rin daw talaga ang nagdadala sa Abra. His goal, of course, is to bring Abra to be a championship contender, to keep moving forward at mag-improve pa ang personal na laro niya. If there's one thing that he likes to prove sa mga fans niya, ayun daw, ay MPBL is a league worth fighting for, and it's the best outlet for him to bring his A-game. Having Coach Mike?
Maraming salamat, Lyra. Excellent report there. And, you know, Dave Ildefonso, this guy easily can generate some monstrous numbers, coach, but his averages this season not really very eye-popping. He's bought into the team's system.
Oo, yun ang kagandahan doon. Ika nga, hindi ako yung superstar dito. Giving the ball and I figured out a way how to score. He's just within the flow of the system, and I guess that's really how they built this. Coach Young and the rest of the coaching staff have really made sure that the guys are bought in to the system on both ends of the floor.
And that's just so impressive coming from a young player who's already had experience playing overseas, has played for the national team. Dave Ildefonso has just exemplified great humility dito sa kanyang first season sa MPBL.
Tama ka naman doon. Tsaka napaka-importante niyan. And the thing is, you're really seeing that in Dave, the humility that you were mentioning. But when it comes to compete, he's never short of it.
Check out our special deal from OneXBet when you scan the QR code and claim your special offer. They go inside to Yusuf Taha. Easy pickings for the big man.
Yes, Yusuf, maganda rin na magiging pangangailangan nila dyan later in the season. A lot of paint action could happen, especially when you get into the playoffs.
Caliano out to Destacamento. The kick out to Katakutan. Puts the ball on the deck. Katakutan, slow drive to the basket, but just gives it away. Ildefonso with the basketball. Gives it up. Garcia from downtown. Off the heel. Taha able to get a hand on it, but could not secure the offensive rebound. Sarangani will set things up. Katakutan has not made a good account of himself here in his debut game yet. Bringas doesn't go for the three. The handoff to Caliano. 9 on the shot clock. That's off the mark para kay Charles Caliano. Gonzalez gets it to Redel Fabro. Garcia inside to Yusuf Taha. That's
Yeah, travel, right?
He shuffled his pivot foot there.
Humakbang muna bago drinable. Kanina na-mention mo si Orin Katakutan. Mukhang he's still out of sync. He's trying to calibrate himself. But I say that because I compare him from last season. He was pretty good. And medyo may slowness ka nakikita sa kanya, but the skill is there.
Guys, a deadly score. You look at the turnover story here. 12-5, Sarangani already with a lot of giveaways, and we still have 3 minutes to play here in the first half.
That's 12 points of turnovers. And the very few times that you get to play defense, hindi nakakakuha ng points from that turnover itong Sarangani.
Malakas ang three-pointer ni Dave Ildefonso. Destacamento on the run. He barges in to Jorel Gonzalez. That's going to be a foul against the Abra homegrown.
How Gonzalez stopped that run by King Destacamento is exactly what you hope for Sarangani to do on their end of the floor.
It has been very forceful on both ends of the floor for Abra, and I say that in a positive manner. King Destacamento, 21 points against the Bulacan Cuyas. Had a double-double with 14 rebounds. Game against a very talented front court of the ABRA Weavers. It has been a long afternoon for these guys.
Well, they have to make a lot of adjustments heading into the second half.
Ildefonso matched up against Katakutan. Fade away jumper is pure para kay Dave Ildefonso.
Use him on the defensive end, have him bring the ball from the back, run transition, post him up. The guy can do everything.
Without a doubt, coach. One and done possession once again for the gripper. And that's going to be a turnover para sa ABRA. Nawala ang bola sa kamay. This is our play of the game, brought to you by 1xBet, the title sponsor of the MPBL. 1xBet, your choice, your victory. Feel more game with 1xBet.
You had everything in that back to the basket action. Footwork, shot fakes, finish.
Hindi man lamang tumagal ang bola sa Sarangani, which brings another fast break opportunity to the ABRA Weavers. Will Lee, another homegrown, getting a basket, his first of the game. Ooh. Oh, CJ Murillo could have finished that with a basket. That was a nasty crossover that he made, a double cross. Just could not get that floater to drop. Gonzalez seeing Fabro, who locates and gives it up to Will Lee.
The ABRA Weavers really just filling in the lanes as soon as they get that forced turnover on Sarangani.
This deficit that Sarangani is facing has ballooned. RV Bringas, 15 coming in the fourth quarter.
Grabe. Well, there were, I think, 7 players who were actually in double digits, led by RV with his 30. And just complete domination, really, by Sarangani.
Yeah, he absolutely bulldozed his way past the interior defense of the Cuyas, which was virtually non-existent in that game.
Oh,
Harley Baldo. It's another new player in the game para dito sa ABRA. The Weavers come up empty on that possession. A minute and 20 remaining in the first half. It has been a nightmare here in the first 2 quarters for Coach John Calish's squad.
sumona naman ang ABRA ngayon.
Katakutan, what will he do? Drives past Gonzalez, goes up for the reverse. Wall up there by Taha. They get it back. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Destacamento. That three-point shot off to the right. Murillo saves it to the bottom of the backboard, and that's going to be ABRA basketball.
Well, did you see that leap by Orin Katakutan?
Well, he's showing flashes of brilliance here, Coach, but it has been very rare in this first half.
It hasn't translated to significant contributions, scoring or defensive-wise para dito kay Orin.
Lee, working the 2-man game with Redel Fabro. Goes to the crossover. Had to adjust. Natamaan sa ulo. He will take 2 shots.
And si Lee is really one of those guys, homegrown, that's benefited from the program, even from last year. And he's grown into this role. And, you know, him being brought into this situation, maganda para sa kanya. Lalo na doon sa mga iba pa mga players from ABRA that are aspiring to be just like him.
Napapansin ko, Coach, from last year pa, each time na magkaroon siya ng opportunity na maglaro, makikita mo that he's a guy that always stays ready. Kasi nakikita mo, kondisyon parati yung bata, and hindi siya nawawala dun sa mga gustong gawin ng kanyang kupunan sa sahig.
Making the most of yung floor time na binibigay sa kanya, which is, yun naman talaga ang kailangan mong gawin. The very few times that you get called on, you have to make sure, to your point, to be ready.
Yeah, I mean, for these players that are at the end of the bench, it doesn't matter to you kung garbage time kayo pasok or during the crucial moments of the game. But when your number is called, you have to make sure that you can perform.
Exactly. Because these things matter later in the season, and
exactly,
you know, let's face it, ABRA is going to be one of those teams figuring out in the playoffs. But how far they would go is really how ready they will be by that time.
CJ Murillo gets 2 for 2 there Sarangani is 6 out of 11 from the charity stripe this afternoon. Last shot time para dito sa Abra. Fabro trying to call out Will Lee, but instead he goes to his own move. Yusuf Taha trying to follow up that shot. One fake. Couldn't get it on the hook shot. 5 seconds to go. 3 seconds. Murillo gives it up. Destacamento has time. Destacamento, that's way off the mark. And that, ladies and gentlemen, does it for the first 2 quarters of this game between the para dito sa Abra, terrorizing Sarangani with numerous fast break points. They're up